So what is this ominous Tyran Stokes news, as this is Locked On Jayhawks? Thanks for making it your first listen every day. And don't forget to check out our bonus episode on Javon Bardwell committing to KU. We've had other commitment episodes this week. We've had KU UCF preview talk to get ready for that one as well here. So Tyran Stokes signed a multi-year deal with Nike. And here's what he said in the release. He said, partnering with Nike means I'm joining a family. Or joining a team, a family, and a legacy. I'm going to be surrounded by high-level, talented people who will keep me working hard to be at the top of my game. I also want to work with Nike to connect with young athletes and give feedback on our footwear and apparel, not just from me, but from my community. There's certainly examples of players who, I don't know, maybe sign with like Puma or Under Armour, and then they go to a school that's not Under Armour, but that's a little different. There's a very limited amount of schools that are like Under Armour. I don't think any of them are Puma at this point in time. So it's like you have to kind of be able to cross over if that is the case. I would be curious to know, and I don't have the full list of the players that have done this in front of me, how many players sign a deal with a shoe brand and then end up not going to a school that is associated with that. Now, Darren Peterson signed the deal with Adidas, and if he did not pick Kansas, the I don't know, maybe the most rumored other school at the time was at Ohio State, because that was like the hometown school for him, and they're Nike. So maybe that would have bucked the trend, but he did end up going to Kansas, and they have the Adidas on there. And so like, I can't think of off the top of my head a guy who has signed a shoe deal with either Nike or Adidas and ended up going to the other. I could be wrong. And please, if there is an example, because this is just ignorance on my part, at D Johnson Radio, hit me up on Twitter and let me know if that is the case. Make me feel better about this situation. But certainly the comment too of like, I'm joining a team, a family, a legacy, surrounded by high-level talented people, like, those comments make it feel like it's not just signing the deal with Nike, it's you're going to be around Nike. And if you are Nike, are you signing him to as big of a deal if he ends up going to an Adidas school? I don't know. I guess anything is possible in recruiting because it is the Wild West in a lot of ways. But like, to me, because it's funny, a lot of the recent scuttlebutt seemed to be that Kansas was trending in a good spot with Tyran Stokes. And looking back at this being signed with some of that coming out, was that just a ploy by his camp, by his party to leak that stuff out there so that Nike would come in with a bigger offer, right? Is that entirely possible to try to close the deal there? Or was it true? Like, was Kansas trending in the right direction? And Nike said, you know what, enough of this. We're sending in the Godfather offer. We're going to squash this right now. We're getting this done. And they were like, enough of, we're close to losing him to Kansas. We have to come in over the top. Maybe one of those two situations happened. I don't know. But I guess I'm viewing it this way. Because even though it seemed like some of that stuff was happening, I think the other two schools that are trending the most, I mean, Louisville was up there. That's a hometown school, but they're also Adidas. So you look at Kentucky and Oregon. Those are two of the schools that are up there seemingly with Kansas and Louisville. Those are both Nike schools. So just based on this information, that's how I'm reading it. I'm reading it that he's going to go to one of those two, Kentucky or Oregon. If I'm wrong, I'll gladly take egg on my face and be happy to watch in the number one recruit in a Kansas uniform. But that's kind of the vibe and the way that I feel like this is kind of trending right now, unfortunately, for Kansas. All right, so if they don't get Tyran Stokes, where does the recruiting class go from here? How do they pivot if you're Bill Self and staff? Today's episode of Locked On Jayhawks bonus show is brought to you by DoorDash. It is the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP from last weekend on Who Delivered. Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order. These players and coaches delivers when it matters most. Let's break it down. For Kansas, we're going to actually shift to basketball, and we're going to go with Bill Self. You know what? We're going to go with Tony Bland. You don't hear his name as much. Tony Bland delivered in a big way this week because Tony Bland has a great relationship with Javon Bardwell. And when you look at, that addition there with Bardwell, a 5-star recruit, Tony Bland being a big part of it, you hired him to help with recruiting, certainly. And it seems like he certainly has and has had a very positive impact for you. And so that is literally for Kansas delivering a player to the program. And just like Tony Bland is delivered for Kansas, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day, only with DoorDash. Terms apply, promo period through November 18th. Today's episode is also brought to you by Peloton. Peloton's shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. The personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. And if you want to do something that is a little more off the beaten path, you can check out one of the distance run or bike rides where you can pick like 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, go as much as you want. You can view a scenic one. You can just ride if you want to. And you can even pull up like Netflix or YouTube TV on there and watch some stuff so you're kind of focused and that while you're getting yourself in shape. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Thanks for joining us on this bonus episode of the show. Again, check out our bonus episode, Javon Bardwell committing to KU. Also had previous episodes of KU's other two coming. They're just landing commits left and right. We've also had some preview stuff for KU UCF. So check that out on the channel here. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube with Locked On Jayhawks. All right, so where does KU pivot if they can't and don't land Tyran Stokes? I think the big question you have to ask here to start this is, like, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about if you don't land Tyran Stokes, is it a position thing? Like you want to bring in another player who's more of a wing 4-man? Or are we talking a money thing where it's like, hey, you have enough to land one more prized recruit. So if you don't land Stokes, you'll only be able to land one more. Because like, if we want to play like Monopoly here, that's probably the wrong game, but like if we want to play just like it ain't my money, let's make it happen. Bring in all of them, bring in all the uncommitted top 20 recruits. You know what I mean? But like that's probably not realistic from both a playing time perspective, from what you can offer the players in terms of monetarily and yada yada. So there's two players that certainly come to mind for me: Caleb Holt and Christian Collins. To me, I think Christian Collins is the one who is the easy answer for the pivot for Bill Self in Kansas, because when you look at Caleb Holt, he's a shooting guard. When you look at Christian Collins, he's more of a 4-man. In fact, when you look at power forwards, the number 1 ranked power forward on 24/7 Sports is Stokes. The number 2 is Christian Collins. So like it just is a parallel. It lines up in a lot of ways there. Whereas there's no problem with bringing on another shooting guard, but if you're looking to next year's roster, where are you going to have more playing time to offer? Are you going to have more playing time at the guard position? And I guess that's a silly way of doing this, because if they're a top 5, top 10 prospect in the country, you make it work for them. So like, I don't want to, I guess they got get that crossed up, but does the player view it that way? Does the player go, you already have Taylon Kinney, you already have Marco Jackson could be back. Like what happens with Cole Rosario? There could be some dudes on the outside. Whereas it's like, okay, the only real wing 4-man KU has on the roster right now is Trey White. He's graduating at the end of the year. Sure, they could play 2 big basketball next year with like Bryson Tiller, but there'd be a lot of minutes available for Collins, certainly. Now, with Collins, beyond the fact that it's the same position there, he's a number 8 player. Caleb Holt is number 5, by the way, on 24/7 Sports. But Tony Bland has serious ties with Christian Collins. I believe he coached him at the prep level at one point. So you would think that is the automatic one. Not automatic that they get him, but the automatic top target becomes Christian Collins if you don't land Tyran Stokes. And then maybe Caleb Holt is the other one that you kind of look to there. And then outside of that, if you don't land either one, you just go a little bit more and say, okay, Alex Costanza and Maximo Adams, they're both top 25 recruits. We're interested in both. We had both visit, but right now they're kind of on the back burner because we want to see what happens with these people. And if these guys end up going somewhere else or don't want to come here, then we can up our offer maybe a little bit to one of those guys to where, yeah, we didn't get that top 10 other recruit, but we got in another really good player to kind of join them. And then the other piece of this is just, okay, if you're unable to land that final, like, big recruit, it already is a good recruiting class for 2026. But then at that point, do you just say, okay, now we're going to have Javon Bardwell, the 5-star in the class of 2027. We'll just have him reclassify into 2026, and he'll become that other big piece as part of the class. I think all those would be kind of on the table for KU. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Locked On Jayhawks. You can find our show anywhere you get your podcast, including on our YouTube page, where you can like and subscribe to the show. See you next time with LOJ.